Mike, mics are on. Kelly said she was going to be. So your mic was on.
Everybody,
Phones are off.
mute their phones, please. And I need to call to order our special meeting on Friday, February the 28th. Need a motion?
Motion. Second.
Pledge allegiance.
Flags are moved.
McLean.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Close.
They moved them for the interviews the other day.
Welcome, the two of you that showed up today. Thank you.
What do you mean, we showed up? We showed up.
So, item 3.1, I want to, well, let me say something first. Yesterday was Chief Clemens' birthday, happy belated birthday.
Happy birthday, Chief.
Thank you. Thanks,
And
Mayor.
also, Captain Miller had back surgery yesterday. He was an outpatient, went to see him this morning, and moving slow, so we want to wish him a speedy recovery. So there's been some misinformation about this item 3.1, the $3.8 million and 76 cents, .001,
Yeah.
whatever the number is.
87 cents.
87 cents. So where this money came from is, and I want to be careful because I don't want to make it sound like I'm tooting my horn, but I'm going to give you the facts because the information that's going out just isn't accurate. So when I had lunch last month with Speaker of North Carolina House, we asked for $12 million. And, you know, I was hoping that the town would get some of this not some, but get $12 million before the budget was passed. But the budget, it will not pass, and the appropriations for this money won't be available until July, maybe August. So 2 weeks ago, the Speaker's assistant called me and said it's going to be July or August where these funds are available, and here's an option for Beach Mountain, which it caught me off guard. She said, we have appropriated $3.8 million for Beach Mountain. How they came up with this, the 88 cents or whatever, it was just some formula. I don't know. But, so this is going to be free money. And I say that it's going to be 0% interest loan for 5 years. And the expenditures that we have, that we're spending this money on, the chief will explain what we're spending it on, we will be reimbursed by FEMA. We'll take the money that FEMA gives the town, and then we'll pay this note off. So essentially, it's free money. Now, I mean, I don't know anyone in their right mind that wouldn't accept $3.8 million. So I guess the flip side of that is that if we didn't accept the 3.8, the town would spend this money out of fund balance, which is ridiculous, ludicrous. And if we did this, there's no guarantee that the town would be reimbursed. You know, originally, you correct me if I'm wrong, Chief, originally FEMA said that they wanted the town to cover all the expenses, and in a year and a half, approximately whatever that, 560 days or 540 days, we would be reimbursed. Well, the town would go bankrupt in 6 months if we tried to spend, what was the total amount?
27 million.
27 million? Well, I inaccurately, I told someone this morning $40 million, so $27 million. So the town would go broke. The town would go broke if we tried to pay for this out of pocket. So it makes good business sense to accept this $3.8 million. In saying that, I need a motion for item 3.1, which is a resolution and promissory note for the North Carolina cash flow loan.
Motion to approve.
I need a second.
Second.
You guys have any discussion, any questions?
Let's hear from Bob what he's got to say, and
How the money's going to be spent?
yeah.
Yes, sir.
So everything the mayor said is correct, and that's how we got to where we are today. And the reason I asked for a special meeting is because we have a severe cash flow problem. We're spending a couple $1 million already out of pocket, and we've had limited reimbursements back from the state, and we've had some reimbursements back through FEMA. The critical issue we have is Lake Buckeye. We've got to get Buckeye dredged. We've got to get the water supply back in place sooner rather than later. I've explained to you, you're tired of hearing me about it, but during the winter we had a little program going where we would make water like crazy during the week, and then we'd use it all up over the weekend because ski weekends. That's not going to work in the summertime when the population is here continuously. So we've got to solve this problem sooner than later. Buckeye Lake is going to run in the $10 to $12 million range to get it dredged, to get the material dried, get it hauled away. You approved buying the land, the 36 acres. We've closed on that. I'd like to get that money back. We used that out of fund balance to pay for that. FEMA eventually, we believe, will reimburse the town for that purchase, but we're now out of pocket $226,000 for that piece of property, as well as several $100,000 worth of design, engineering, permitting, those type of things. I need to go to bid Monday to get a contractor in here to dredge Buckeye Lake. I need to go to bid Monday to hire a contractor to build a road in the debris site, the new land that we purchased. I need to go to bid Monday to haul the material that we dredge out of Buckeye to that site. To that end, this $3.8 million is going to be used for that project. It's restricted by the state. It has to be used for disaster-related expenses. But this is a critical need that the town has to do. If you do not accept this money, I will ask you then to approve taking $4 million out of fund balance and do the project. We have got, in my opinion, we have got to get Buckeye Lake back to its capacity, or we will suffer the consequences this summer. Mm-hmm. So this is a cash flow loan. I reported back to you back in November that Steve and I looked to go to the banks and try and get a cash flow loan at market rates for this purpose, because we do not have $27 million. You know, we have between $7 and $8 million in fund balance, and I've got to run the town. So we don't have that money, and if we don't have the money, we've got to borrow it. This is a cash flow from the North Carolina Department of Treasurer. It's unique. We've never received money from the treasurer before. This is a connection that the mayor had with the Speaker of the House, Mr. Hall. And Steve has been working this to get us to where we are today. And the reason we have an emergency or a special meeting of the town council is I don't have a day to waste. Today's Friday. I need to go to bid Monday. If you don't want to do this, I need to hear it, because then we'll have to come up with another plan. But right now, that's the plan. We need to approve it today. I'd like you to approve it today. I'd like to get the funds encumbered. As we understand it, the state's going to transmit this amount to the town electronically next week. We're going to put it in the town account. Steve has set up a system to account for all this individually, because it is a little complicated. We have, as I've reported, another $3 million on the water side that we're using. Total, we've got about $9 million. I hate to say in change when we're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars, but a little under $10 million that's committed for the town and various entities. And Steve and I have had lengthy discussions, and he's putting the system in place to account for all these different funding sources and how we're going to use the money, what the requirements are, and how to pay it back. So that's what we're going to use it for. And I've got a meeting today at 11. Hopefully you approve this today, because at 11 o'clock today I tell the engineers to go to bid. And we're going to bid for 14 days, and I expect to have some equipment in Lake Buckeye middle of March to begin removing the debris. it's serious. I've told you month after month how critical that problem is. It is serious, and this is our plan to make this work. If you don't want to do it, I need to know now and give me direction on what direction you would like us to go. But this is 0% interest for 5 years. The payment schedule is in the resolution that we've got before you today. We pay $1 in 12 months. And then it's a percentage, 25%, it's spelled out. We expect FEMA money to come in. FEMA's not gonna write us a check for $27 million, that's not how it works. Everything gets put into a project. I told you last week or 2 weeks ago, we've got over 600 line items in our damage inventory. We're negotiating again with FEMA. So they're gonna write us checks for those projects as they are paid out, and we put invoices in. We're going to have to account for that. We're going to have to take those dollars and then disperse those back into this loan, the DEQ loan of $3 million, which we've accepted, or you've accepted some weeks ago, and other funding streams that we're out looking for. The mayor said, and I've told you, we've got about $27 million worth of damages, and I don't have $27 million of funds obligated from other sources. So we're not going to do that work until we've got other funds obligated.
So, and I want, don't mean to interrupt you, but I want to touch on that note. Some folks, I think, here in the town are dissatisfied with the lack of progress that the town is making. It's not the lack of progress of the town, it's the time frame and the delay with FEMA and getting these projects approved. Sure, we can take the town's financial resources and we can pay for these projects out of pocket. But as Chief Budney said, the chance for us to get reimbursed by FEMA is a lot lower than waiting until FEMA comes in, approves projects, and then we take some of the funding that we get from DEQ and this other $3.8 million. We use this money because it's been allocated for these projects. So it is going to be a slow and tedious process. And I hope I'm wrong, but we're 3 to 5 years out before we get Beach Mountain looking to like it was pre-hurricane. And folks just have to be patient. They need to be patient.
Are you still looking at 620 days reimbursement from FEMA?
Yes, but FEMA has, as they do every time I meet with them, have changed that discussion. So that's from project initiation to project closeout. The last dollar and all the invoices and all the reporting and things like that is about 618 days. FEMA has two that we're going to use. They've got a small project, which is under $1,038,000. I think we've discussed this. And those small projects, we have to agree, the town and FEMA, on an amount and a scope of work and a damage. And then they will pay us that amount to get that project done. And then we have to report back at the end. So when we're audited, we don't have to write a check back to FEMA when they say, well, wait a minute, you didn't do what you said you were going to do and we want money back. That's the other shoe that we haven't really talked about. But down the road, if we don't, and I have told you this, if we don't do it right now and we make a mistake today, it will cost the town a lot of money down the road when it gets audited. So that's part of the process of why it's so slow. The other thing is a large project, and that's over that $1,038,000. And a large project's a little bit different. Usually Buckeye is a large project. Charter Hills Road is a large project. Requires engineering, it requires procurement, it requires bidding and all that stuff. And FEMA will give you drawdowns on that contracted amount up to 75% of the project as you pay it. So it takes about 90 to 180 days from when we pay it, get all the invoices, get all the paperwork submitted to FEMA, and we can expect to get a draw on the work that's been done.
Does the project have to be completed in its entirety before the reimbursement process begins?
No. On a large project, no. The final payment, the last 25% we'd be on the hook for. And that doesn't sound like a lot, 25%, but 25% of $10 million,
Yeah.
Sure.
you know,
But you
you've
say
got a
we're-
chunk of change there.
So the loan is through whom?
The North Carolina Treasurer's
Okay.
Office.
See, that was 3 seconds ago, I can't remember what I was gonna say.
Well, to the mayor's point about the delay, and we've talked about it. I guess people don't listen to what we talk about at council meetings, but
You think?
and the mayor's right, and I've told you this, we can do a lot of work right now. And all of that work will be on our dime, the town's dime. And we would not have any reasonable expectation of any reimbursement. And to that point,
Because it's not approved.
yes.
Correct.
And to that point, FEMA has just agreed and given us dates that they've changed twice already to do inspections on roads and culverts. So obviously, roads and culverts are one of the bigger items that I get complaints about every day. Our roads are terrible, and they are. And that is the end of March, beginning of April, that they're gonna send inspectors out to look at the damage. Now, if we go out and repair the road and bring it back up to where it was, we have to take that road off the list. There'll be no damage to be inspected, and there won't be any money. So a road can run a couple $100,000, and the longer it is, the more damage there is. You add a culvert or two, and you could have $250,000 in a section of gravel road before you're done. I can do it. I can get it done quickly. We, the town will pay for it, and there's no reasonable expectation we'll get paid.
I think that would be reckless with.
Yeah, totally.
And that's why I'm
I
not
agree.
doing it, and I have reported this every month to you, but
Yes.
no one's listening, I guess.
The message isn't getting conveyed to the taxpayers, and
So I'm not the one driving the ship, the 5 of you are. If you want us to do something different than what we're doing, I need to know that. But to me, this is, and I've reported this every month, and you have not told me to do it differently, so we've been going full speed ahead. This is our plan. And as we get money in, we'll do more projects. We don't have the financial resources in this town to do $27 million worth of repair. And I'll be honest with you, that number's gonna go up. Every time I bid something, I'm amazed at the cost, because there isn't any material, there isn't any gravel, there isn't a dump truck that isn't hauling for the state, that is being paid astronomical per hour, per load, fees. So that number's gonna go up, but that's our best guess right now. So that's the number we use.
I remember my question. You talk about good reimbursed 75% by FEMA. Are we on the hook for the 25%, or where do we go for
Well,
get that?
currently, no, we're not. The declaration from the federal government and then the state have made this 100% reimbursable event. There's some time frames there.
Right.
180 days, you gotta have the work done in 180 days, yeah. No one's getting the work done in that time frame, so there will be extensions, but everyone's telling us, you gotta get it done in 180 days. So it should be when we're done. The plan when we're done, when all of this comes together, and let me tell you, there's 100 irons in the fire. There's 50 balloons on strings in the air, and we're all pulling them at the same time. When all this is done, we want to come out whole, the town whole. We don't want this storm to take our fund balance down. That's the goal. And I call it playing the game. So, but everybody's got to be on the same page, particularly my 5 bosses. You've got to be on the same page on what the plan is and where we're going and how we're going to get there. Because you're getting the same complaints I'm getting. The town looks like heck, you can't get the trees out, my road terrible, my drainage. We had people talk about drainage, at your last meeting. They're all correct. The roads are tore up. That's why we're asking for millions and millions of dollars to fix them. The stormwater system, the drainage, the culverts. I think last count we had like 500 culverts that were damaged or destroyed. Now that number's going to fluctuate, but they're correct. There was substantial damage to the town. We don't have the money to fix it on our dime. And if we don't take advantage of things like this, and we don't take advantage of DEQ, and we don't take advantage of the mayor going to the representatives and having lunch with them and getting us $12 million of direct appropriation, we have that on the table, and we watch that every day to when the Senate and the House calendar comes out. If we don't do those things, we're never gonna get it fixed because we don't have enough money to do it. And when we're all done, we won't be happy because there'll be literally either hundreds of thousands of dollars, more likely millions of dollars, that we won't be reimbursed for.
Any other questions?
Yeah, but I mean, before we go to vote, I want to state, at least for me, this is the plan, as we've been discussing for months, that I want you to go down, and I believe everybody else is in agreement with that. So just to reiterate, you know, this is all part of the process, and I'm 100% behind it.
And we need to stay on course.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a delay with our approach, but we don't have a choice.
we have a choice, but the second choice is
Well,
not
we
working.
didn't.
You can't do it.
Exactly.
He's being a good steward of the town's money.
Yes.
Yep.
Because we don't want to empty the coffers and not get reimbursed.
And I think this council has been a good steward of the town's money as well.
I believe so. Others don't, but I believe so.
One question for me, and just knowing how normal stuff works with FEMA, are we doing future mitigation efforts in the projects? In that, if we know that, you know, we've got a culvert system that wasn't functioning properly, it couldn't handle it, are we beefing that up, making changes? Is that part of the project plan? Because generally FEMA will pay for that stuff.
Yes.
And I'm just thinking that's, you know, when we look at the money that we get reimbursed is actually not to put it back the way it was, it's to make it better than it was before the storm. So I think that's important to understand the reason, again, why you want to take a slow approach to getting these projects approved by FEMA before you start any work. Because once you start work, like Bob said, FEMA's gonna look at it and go, nah.
Yeah, it's a different ballgame.
To answer your question, yes, the mitigation is an integral part of, and that's part of the dilemma. The FEMA folks that we work with want, you know, Sunday is the deadline to have all our DIs, damage inventory in, and we've had them in, and we've been arguing back and forth on the level of detail. We put in much more detail than FEMA wants. They're asking us to pull detail out, and we're putting mitigation in there. A good example is the Buckeye Creek Road, Pinnacle Ridge intersection by Shane Park. You know, we did emergency repair, we put some culverts back, but we lose that intersection on a regular basis. So we've asked for mitigation to put a box culvert in. And so that takes there's a whole nother group in FEMA that does mitigation, and they're on board. And then we've got to get, of course, believe it or not, you can put the same culvert back in, and permitting at the state is, okay, you want to put something better in, and Fish and Wildlife, the bat people, you know, everybody else then has to have a say in it. So mitigation is a much more laborious task, but we're doing it because, to your point, let's not spend a couple $1 million fixing a culvert in an intersection and paving it and then have it wash out in 2 or 5 years. Let's put the right box culvert in. We're doing the same thing at Greenbrier. That's a little different, another funding mechanism. If you recall, we got almost $1 million from Golden Leaf to do that intersection, and now it washed out, and so FEMA's going to contribute some money to that plan. That makes Steve's job even that much more difficult on that single project because we've got the Golden Leaf funding and their requirements, and then the mitigation from FEMA and their requirements, but he's gonna do it. Buckeye Lake, we're gonna dredge Buckeye Lake, and FEMA's gonna pay for what the storm put in the lake, but it would be ridiculous for us to mobilize, dredge the lake, which, by the way, the Army Corps of Engineers says, you need a permit to do that. And I went, yes, and he goes, but it's not permittable. I digress. So it would be ridiculous to put all the equipment mobilized, spend millions of dollars to dredge the lake, and not take it down to its hard rock bottom where it was in, 88, whenever we built the thing. So we're gonna do that, and mitigation is gonna pay that difference. So, to answer your question in a long, I know I go way long, but this mitigation is being included in quite a few places. Buckeye Lake is one, Greenbrier, there's others.
Charter Hills.
Charter Hills, yeah, try and keep the mountains from falling down.
So as far as accounting, where is all this gonna end up? Like when we make that 10% payment, where is that gonna sit budget-wise?
And Steve's here, I'll let him explain it if I don't hit the highlights, but when we started the disaster relief back in November, I guess, we came to you, Steve prepared a what do you call it?
Capital project budget.
Yeah, a capital project, so we're going to put all our disaster funds into a separate capital project account, and then the accounting will be money in, money out for that. I talked a little bit about that last meeting where the financial report looked a little strange because we had commingling, if you will, and so your next report in March will be back to where I said we would be, where you're going to look at town operations like you used to in that report, and then the capital project ordinance will calculate and create accountability for all the disaster funds.
Okay.
So as we get these millions of dollars in through the disaster, for disaster, it will be accounted for there,
Gotcha.
both revenue and expenditure. Is that correct, Steve?
Everyone good? Yep. Any more explanation? All right. All in favor of passing item 3.1?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Item 3.1 passes.
Thank you.
Okay. There you go, Chief. You got a lot to do
We're going to bed.
by Monday. So I need a motion to adjourn today's meeting.
Motion?
All right. You guys have a good day. Thanks for your time. Thank you for coming.